Fear of the virus, economic anxieties, and isolation. The last month has been a whirlwind for many Michiganders who, according to Dr. Linda Seltzer-Sucher, are in many ways going through the grieving process.
They're grieving the loss of their independence. They're grieving the fear of their loss of their healthy self. They may be grieving the loss of a relative or their ability to be with other people.
During these past years, mental illness awareness has been a big thing, often touched in the media, thanks to being less and less stigmatized, and also because during these past years, mental illness, especially depression and anxiety, has skyrocketed on its levels, going in hand with the increase of deaths among young people due to suicide. But ever since COVID became a pandemic and the implemented safety measures have been stricter and stricter over these past months, the problems have become as serious, and I even dare to say more serious than the current pandemic. Hello, my name is Ana Paulina Góngora. I'm from Pop Arte, and this is my presentation about why the mental illness wave is just as serious as a global pandemic and how art has been a big help in the control of this mental illness wave that we have been suffering thanks to the pandemic. So first of all, what does this has to do with art? It shouldn't be medicine? Well, yeah, but not only emotions are very linked to art, emotions are very linked to art to its core, but it also has been shown by different medical studies that art actually helps as a form of therapy, for people who are struggling with different mental illnesses, such as a coping mechanism for anxiety. It has shown to be way useful for people with dementia, Alzheimer, and many other diseases. So it may not be the solution for the problem, but it can help minimizing it. Okay, let's talk about the problem before we get into the solutions. Locally in Mexico, suicide rate in teens and young adults has gone up from 1.9 to 9% during the quarantine, to the point that 43% of the cases are between 15 and 25 years old. And then you can say, well, this is just Mexico. We shouldn't even be worrying about the rest of the world. That's where you're wrong. In the United States, there's a high possibility that almost 75% of people could die because of overdose or suicide due to the pandemic. And there has been predictions that after the pandemic, there would be a big wave of suicides coming along the way. Why has this become an issue? What does the pandemic have to do with all that's going on in the world? It has a lot to do. The news, the media, everything we see around us is COVID, which this has caused elevated levels of stress and anxiety. And due to quarantine, let's put that with high levels of loneliness that can lead to depression, and due to not being able to contact for help or even contact friends, this could increase the use of self-destructive habit or unhealthy coping mechanisms, going from the abuse of substances to even self-harm. During this month, 40% of adults in USA reported struggling with their mental health. From that 40%, 11% have considered taking their own life at a point. 26% have been diagnosed with trauma or stress-related disorders. And then the 13% started increasing as substance abuse. And then the 31% have already, their anxiety and depression symptoms have either showed up again, gone worse, or even started to develop, and that's not good. Then, if we go to Mexico, according to the INEGI, there were 200, 200 and 2,113 cases and 3,665 attempts just between January and June, and that 40% were teens and young adults. Now, we've talked about how bad the situation actually is. How this is not just something that we have to. This is not just something that we can step aside. So this is where the solution comes in hand. Art as a solution. What do professionals have done against this? First of all, there has been an implement of art therapy as a solution to the problem. What is art therapy specifically? This goes linked with art and medicine. It's basically a type of psychology therapy that uses practices like drawing, painting, collages, sculpting, anything artistic to provide a more direct way to communicate thoughts and abstract feelings that are too difficult to express. It has shown to be very helpful for people who are struggling because of trauma, stress, anxiety, depression, etc. One of the benefits of this therapy, or in general in art as a solution, is that it can help people deal with a strong emotion. It can decrease stress and anxiety. It could be shown as a healthy coping mechanism, and also it could be a form of distraction. When dealing with someone with self-harm, distraction is the main coping mechanism if we want them to stop. Now, this is something that professionals have done. What about artists? Has anyone done anything about it? During the pandemic, a lot of people are using art as a way to cope with the current uncertainty of the situation that is the pandemic. One of these examples is how kids all over the world are encouraged to draw rainbows with messages to tell people that everything will be okay. And also how a few associations are putting resources into making congresses and activities where it's encouraged to do art as a form of relaxation. Many, even many small artists have started programs on social media for people to keep themselves busy during quarantine. One of these examples is the famous American children's book illustrator Carson Ellis, who founded the Quarantine Art Club on her Instagram page, where daily assignments such as contour drawing and self-portrait are posted for people to do. And sometimes she also posts some drawing props that people can get creative with. And there's also this Canadian art blogger, Danielle Kirsa, who created the 30-day art quarantine challenge, where she posts a list of 13 words of creative props that people can respond with all types of art. It has gone from sculptures to drawings to painting, all kinds of stuff. And this is a few examples of how the kids all over the world are drawing rainbows to tell people that everything will be fine and that we just have to hold on a little bit more. Thank you very much for coming to my presentation. And these are the resources used for the investigation. And I must say that as an artist myself, I feel that it is very important to use, as an artist myself who has struggled with a few issues in the past, I can tell that it is actually a very good coping mechanism for people that are struggling with this. And we just gotta keep on fighting. At the end of the day, this will be temporary. Thank you very much for coming to my video. Take care.
It's building your emotional muscles, making a bucket list of what you want to do in the future that you've said to yourself, when I'm out of this quarantine, what are the things that I really want to do? How do I want to change who I am?
The Bloomfield Hills psychologist also points out because we're physically alone does not mean we have to be mentally alone.